Now, let's have a conversation with senior lecturer, Anglo-Ruskin University in London, Dr. Tony Agwins, who speaks to us virtually from London in the UK. Good morning and thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, good morning, Olumide, and how is Lagos?
Let's begin with the impending ground offensive by Israel, which they've called Operation Swords of Iron, having achieved their primary objective of neutralizing the Hamas threats at their borders. Now, the next order of business is a ground offensive into Gaza. But as a prevention of this crisis, what Amman, the military intelligence, could not uncover or prevent, Shin Bet, the Homeland Security, could not decipher or prevent, nor could Mossad. Can we take it for granted now that since the Hamas say that the Israeli Defense Forces should come, they're ready for them, that they're not walking into a trap, that the IDF has its act together now and indeed will not walk into a trap, which obviously is an anticipation of the Hamas militants?
Yeah, thank you, Olumide, and for your introductory, report. It was very, very encompassing. First of all, my commiserations to, families who have lost their dear ones in this crisis, both on the Israeli side and on the Palestinian side. It is very, very, sad to see another crisis, on the global stage. Why we've been talking about Russia, Ukraine in the last couple of months, and these are just coming right from the blues. Going straight to your question, I want to say that this is a full-scale war, as we have seen. All the optics, they are not looking good. And it was very, very much expected that the Israelis were going to, do what they are doing now, considering the dastardly nature of the attack by the Hamas militant group, on October 7 on Israeli soil, during the Supernova Festival. And like you have alluded to there, it came as a shock that, looking at the high-tech nature of the Israeli security architecture, this attack could just happen without them even having a premonition of it or being able to prevent it. And we saw the massacre, that took place at the venue of the music festival at the Negev Desert, just 3 miles off the border of Gaza. So it is really, really shocking that the Israeli security could not, they couldn't, see this coming on their crystal ball. So there's a lot of questions to be answered there. So that being said, the all-out, aggression now from the nation of Israel, in their words, is a total one. They want to, completely wipe off the Hamas militant group, from the face of the earth. So the words we are hearing, the sound bites that are coming, and then just yesterday, like you said in your report, the Israeli government telling all inhabitants in Gaza to evacuate about 1.1 million people. So when you look at the humanitarian crisis that this is going to cause, so this crisis is just a big one, and it is so sad that yet again the world has been thrown into a very deep crisis.
The arrival of the USS Gerald Ford, the battleship aircraft carrier with the aircraft carrier group alongside other ships with jets on them in the East Mediterranean Sea, has been criticized by President Vladimir Putin of Russia and Turkey's President Recep Erdogan, saying that what are they there to do? But the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has mentioned that the presence of that aircraft carrier group is to deter other state actors from thinking they want to interfere. Now that he has met with King Abdullah of Jordan and is doing a tour of those nations that could present a problem for Israel, do you think that these other states will stay off this conflict and not interfere?
Yeah, I think at the moment, I believe that other states, they will stay off, but you always expect this. The U.S., they are a very strong ally of Israel. They've been backing the Israelis to the hilt, for forever, if we want to put it so. So it is expected. Even the UK, they've sent warship and some spy planes to Israel as well. So it's expected. A lot of these Western countries, they are supporting Israel. But I just want to quickly put something in context before I answer your question with regards to the shuttle diplomacy that Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, is doing. First of all, we need to establish why, in the first place, the Hamas militant group, carry out this attack. Experts, in international affairs have looked at this very critically, and they've come up with three major reasons. One is the fact that in December 2022, Prime Minister Netanyahu came back, to the helm of affairs in Israel, and this is a very far-right government. And what these have done is that in the last couple of months, there have been a lot of settlers' violence within the West Bank territory. So that is one. Secondly, if you notice, in the last couple of years, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago now, there's been a kind of, a reconstruction of Arab-Israeli relationship. There's been some kind of normalization there. So the Hamas group, they are beginning to think that, Israel is becoming very comfortable. They are becoming friends. If you notice, in the last couple of days, Saudi Arabia and Israel just getting ready to sign a historic, agreement or treaty, if you like. So that is it. Then thirdly, Hamas on its own, they are, trying to also repair their ties with Iran, which has been a major supporter of their cause. Let's not forget why this attack has taken place, even though Iran have denied being involved, but they've supported what the Hamas militant group have done. So, against this context, you will see that the possibility as at now of third parties getting involved, even though Russian president has already given his opinion and all that, is quite slim. So that is not going to happen now. But all that can change within the twinkle of an eye if more carnage and human casualty continues. And then it could turn religious, and if a religious dimension comes into it, this whole dynamics can change, like I said, as quickly as possible.
Indeed, Israel has exchanged tamed fire with Hezbollah in Lebanon and fire in Syria, but much like it was in 9/11 and the destruction of the Twin Towers, the multinational identities of some of the victims is at play as well in Israel because, of course, it's a religious pilgrimage destination as well as a tourist haven for many. And many of these people who are dual nationality with Israel are amongst those either killed or taken hostage. Now, this is the precarious situation that the IDF finds itself in, trying to take on this ground offensive and minimizing risk to the innocent Palestinians living in Gaza, for which they've said they should evacuate to the southern part. But that still remains a problem, how these hostages will be dealt with. I know Israel will not they said they will not negotiate with terrorists, but how do you see or frame their response to the rescue of the hostages, knowing that they are going ahead with the ground offensive?
Yeah, like you said there, the Israelis have said they're not going to negotiate, but I think the shuttle diplomacy that Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, has embarked on now is going to produce results. Like he's meeting with the King of Jordan. The Americans are talking to the Egyptians as well, who are a key player in this whole Middle East peace affairs. So I think both Hamas and Israel will be brought together. And let's not also forget that there are always two sides to a coin. So people need to also give a balanced view of what is actually happening. The issue of territory between Israel and the Palestinians have been on since the creation of the nation of Israel, in 1948, about 75 years ago now. So I think it's so difficult in the world for peace to come, but I think a peaceful resolution needs to come so that these territories, West Bank, Gaza, Israel, everybody will know where he's supposed to live, and the complaints of everybody is brought to the table so that both sides go home either with 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30, as the case may be, as is often said in conflict resolution. So that is the glimmer of hope that we all are having, because, look, when you look at 1.1 million inhabitants evacuating, so people are asking, where are they going to go? So it is a huge humanitarian crisis. Like you said during your report, food, water, fuel, and electricity have been cut off from Gaza and all that. So there's a lot of human suffering in all this. So let's people come to the understanding that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Some of the laws of physics that we learned way back in secondary school. So things are actually responsible for this, and the earlier they start negotiating, the better for everyone.
Surely the primary consideration ought to be the rescue of the hostages, because Israel is not going to listen to anything aside from that at this time. We saw the drama played out, as we showed you in our report this morning in the Knesset, where the Arab-Israeli was talking about peace, and that's a very, very thorny issue with the Israelis at this time, when they have their citizens, and God knows citizens of whatever countries in captivity, over 100 of them, of Hamas. The reason why hostage situations are so dire is because it's the absolute suspension of the human rights of the hostage. And the hostage is at the mercy of the hostage taker. And that is a federal crime in many crimes. Please go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Hamas militant group have taken this hostage, to score some points. And like they have said, they also want a lot of their prisoners, some of their members that the Israelis have taken prisoners. Most of them are in Israeli jails. So according to them, they want to use this hostage as a bargaining chip to get the release of Palestinians who are just in Israeli jails. So I don't think they are going to start killing the hostages, but it could get there. But hopefully when the negotiations start and then there's a call for ceasefire, they'll probably get, answers to their own requests. And some of those Palestinians who are in Israeli jails will be released. And I'm sure some of these hostages will be released. But this has to happen fast. Otherwise, they will start killing them.
Indeed, the situation continues to develop. It's very vicarious. It's a very volatile situation. We thank you for your input this morning, Dr. Tony Agbons, Senior Lecturer, Anglo and Ruskin University in London, who joined us from London.
Thank you, and have a great day.